Fred! I'll do an interview with Fred Talks Fighting. DM me or something. Thank you for the £2. MMA Guru official on Instagram. Sure, dude.
This is Fred Beck from Fred Talks Fighting. I'm joined over Zoom by the MMA Guru. I do appreciate you doing this. I know you don't do many interviews, and it's exciting to talk to someone different for once on Zoom. How are you?
I'm doing good, man. I had to do the Fred Talks Fighting interview. I have respect for you, man. You're young, doing your thing. So I thought I'd come on. I get a few requests, but I got to do a Fred Talks Fighting interview at least once, you know? It makes
Hopefully,
sense.
hopefully multiple. But no, I do appreciate it. I know that you're very picky in which kind of publications and outlets you go to. So I do appreciate your time. But I'm also very sorry for waking you up so early as 6 p.m. in the
I
afternoon.
know. It's honestly disgraceful. I don't know what hour you think this is and how you think this is normal, but yeah, I'm up crazy early. I'm usually awake towards around 7, 8 a.m. US time, catching the midnight rush over there in the US. But, I'll get up early for a bit of Fred Talks fighting. It's all good.
So you sleep on the normal US sleep schedule then, on the US time zone?
Yeah, I typically sleep around then. Normally, big things happen around like midnight US time. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
Or like 11 p.m. or 10 p.m. So if something big happens, I've kind of got to be there for it around that time. That's when the American viewers are watching anyway, just before bed over there.
Have you ever considered moving to America?
I've considered it, yes. Very, very much. I've considered it. But I got family here, so I'm probably going to end up staying in the UK and just dying early at the age of 50 or 40 and calling it a day, Probably best lose a bit of life by ruining my sleep schedule permanently, but it's part
How
of the
old are you
game. Game's a
now?
game.
How old are you now? I don't think your age is online.
I mean, I look a lot older. I think I've looked about 40 since I was 16, but I'm actually only 26, just
Oh,
recently
okay.
turned. Yeah.
And have you always had the beard? Is the beard always been a thing since you were a child?
No, the beard has not been a thing since I was a child, but I actually couldn't grow a beard until I was like in my early 20s. I think I hit like a second puberty at one point that gave me beard ability. So that's what I've been going for recently.
Okay. That gives me hope, as one might say. We'll talk about this then. How did you originally kind of get into all the MMA world? Because I know that when someone kind of makes a channel in the combat sports world, is everyone from the outside, it looks very, very big, but from the inside, everyone knows each other. It's a very tight-knit group of people in terms of
Mm.
boxing and the MMA world. How did you originally get started in all of it?
I used to do taekwondo. Wow, we're getting into the good questions here. I used to do taekwondo for ages. I did it from when I was a toddler until I was like barely a teenager. And I did that for like just under a decade. And I think when you do something like a different martial art that isn't just boxing when you're growing up, you're just more inclined to hear about a kick knockout somewhere online or something like a Anthony Pettis jumping off the cage and head kicking Benson Henderson was something. And I just ended up seeing highlight videos on YouTube. So I was just interested immediately. And I kind of understood it. I liked the idea of throwing kicks and that type of thing. So that's what originally drew me to MMA for sure.
And how long were you doing that for?
What, taekwondo?
Yeah.
I did it for probably about 9 years.
Oh wow,
Uh,
ages then, a long time.
yeah, just under a decade. I got my second degree black belt, but it's a child's black belt, so it doesn't really count. But it's something. I did it like twice a week for about 9 years, competed in some tournaments in the UK, some decent tournaments, but I lost. So it's not really impressive. I didn't really win much, but I was there. I was there
Hmm.
getting my ass whooped. I put my time in.
But then you didn't know that all that experience and kind of all the stuff you learn back in the day does help you later on. Even though people will say, "Oh, growing up, you'll be able to defend yourself," but no, it's different for you now. Now you'll be able to talk about it and a lot more confidence.
Yeah, I guess, yeah. I understand it more than someone who didn't understand the idea of kicking things would. But that didn't like prepare me to talk shit about a UFC fighter in the future. Where like, oh, because I've done taekwondo for so long, now I'm well equipped and ready to trash Nina drama or whatever beef I get myself into.
You get yourself into more beef and more beef, but people say, "Oh, it's not a good look." Well, in the day, it's PR, and everyone's talking about it. especially the MMA community on Twitter, or more like the UFC community on Twitter. It's when two people are arguing and you got two kind of strong opinions going at it. It's just the talk of the town. Websites write about it. People are talking about it. Does that helped you a lot, the Nina drama beef?
Um, it gets views. I think I got about 600,000 views on the Nina drama video. I like to respond these days, Fred, because when I was a younger channel and I had less subs back in the day, of about a year ago, um, I used to go at people a lot more. I used to provoke. And I do provoke, but it's normally on like a clip or a tweet or something. Like I don't make personalized videos to trash people these days. So I kind of like to wait to respond to people like that so it doesn't seem like I'm bullying anyone or, you know, going at someone for no reason. So that's my new method, is to sort of somewhat bait someone into going at me strong, and then I get to go back at them. That's the thing that I'm into right now.
No, it's a smart way to do it, certainly. So the recent beefs, Nina, obviously, Michael Chandler, and then Ariel Helwani. Is that true as well, Ariel?
Ariel Helwani is a beef, but Ariel's irrelevant now. Like we don't need to. I don't need to kick a dead dog when it's down, over on his little YouTube channel. But no, it's all good. Ariel's. I feel like he's trying to extend an olive branch towards me. So like welcome me back into the fray, because for years I was full steam ahead going after Ariel. I'd make like a video a month just absolutely trashing Ariel on my channel. And he would never reference me. He would like make hints at like, my good friend online is probably going to make a video about this. But he would never say the MMA Guru. He would never go after me. But recently he's openly talking about my channel and openly talking about whatever beef I get into. So I feel like he's trying to worm his way back in and maybe try and get some kind of like allegiance there. But I'm not falling for it, dude. This guy, he did what he did. He's in the timeout corner of YouTube, and I'll leave him there. But Ariel's cool. Other than that, the Jon Jones thing is my most popular thing. I don't know if we want to get into that.
No,
Maybe
we
we
get to do
keep it.
anything. Anything goes in this channel. It's not too
Okay.
PG.
Yes, I've seen your escapades with models. I'm aware that everything goes on this channel, Fred. Don't worry. But yeah, Jones stuff. That was just mere professional journalism at its finest. Like I kept it really professional for the Jones thing, so that's probably why it got the views that it did. And yeah, I don't know. Other than that, I've had a few other mini beefs. There was a fighter once, Terrence McKinney, that I actually called out to a boxing match. It was a tag team boxing match, but it never ended up happening, of course, because I knew he was under contract and couldn't accept it. So game's the game,
You're smart in your call ups, you know. You know the
Yes,
legal
yes.
agreements.
Only if they're not able to fight me in any circumstance legally, then the call out will be made, and I'll seem good for doing it. You know what I mean?
No,
That's normally
certainly.
the
They
move.
haven't really got much option but to say no. Are you familiar with Misfits Boxing? I know you don't really talk about it on your channel, but it's part of the combat sports world, so take it that you know a little bit about it.
Yes, I've watched Misfits Boxing stuff. I'm aware. I'm
Do you
very
watch
aware of Misfits
do you watch
Boxing.
each event? Are you a fan?
It depends on the event, because the events there's like, oh, there's some names on this one, and then there's another event when it's like, ooh, who are these guys? These guys are influencers. I don't know any of these people. Why is this an influencer boxing event? This is just a non-boxer event most of the time. But sometimes the events are good, and I'll keep like who's the most recent Misfits boxers that I actually know that fought? HS Tiki Toki fought recently
Hmm.
on Misfits, right? That was on Misfits.
Yeah, that was back in the
Yep.
doubling card. Yeah.
Yep. I knew of him. I know Danny Aaron's. He looked awful, but he got in there and gave it a good go. Uh, I know the popular MMA YouTubers. So if they, not MMA, UK YouTubers. So if they have a fight on Misfits, I'll find out what happened the day afterwards on the highlight videos
Oh, so you're gonna be watching it
and
live then?
check. I mean, unless it's like a huge deal, I'm not watching it live now. It'll probably be clashing with the UFC anyway, so I'd rather watch that. But yeah, I'm aware of Misfits. I see what's going on. I actually what's it? Happy Punch Keemstar messaged me once asking me to fight someone. Was absolutely disgraceful offer that he gave me, so I just didn't entertain it in any way. But you know, I don't know. I'm kind of
Who was Keemstar asking you to fight?
he was, oh God, here we go. Here's some attention for him. He'll put this on Twitter. He was asking me to fight the fan. Do you
Oh,
know who
the
the fan
fan.
is?
Wow. I know the fan.
Yeah. It was ages ago. And he just messaged me. I was honestly, I was thinking Keemstar's messaged me. He's gonna offer me an opponent. And it was like teasing that it was a big opponent. And I was like, dude, it's gonna be True Geordie. That's my mindset that I was under going into opening the message for him. He even did it while I was live on stream. So there'd be some kind of hype for it. And I think you can see my like smile fade as I opened up the message. Because listen, KSI fan, do your thing, get your money, however you got to do to get by. But if I'm gonna box someone, I want it to be maybe not a true Geordie. Maybe now it's a bit more realistic, but someone with an audience, someone with a thing to them, with a fan base of their
Someone
own,
with
not
weight on
just
their someone with weight on their name.
yes, not weight on their poor knees holding up their frame,
So
but
wait,
weight on their name.
so you're 6'3", and what weight are you?
Right now, I'm probably, I'd like to say about 6'3.5", and then maybe 245 pounds. I'm in all right shape,
Oh,
you
so
know?
you'd fight at 240 or fight at 230.
I'd probably try and fight at about 230, lose 15 pounds, try and get some abs showing a little bit. That's my aim right now. Trying to
Okay.
be lean at 230 if I can.
In with the True Geordie fight interest you? Would you want to fight True Geordie?
Yeah,
Wait,
yeah, I
have
would.
you beef with True Geordie in the past?
I haven't beefed with him. Like, I haven't really like gone at him for anything big. I've never made a video about True Geordie, but like I once read his DMs out on stream, if you know about his leaked DMs, and chat was like, dude, you got to see True Geordie's DMs. So I just read them in like his voice and like reenacted the moment. But I only say True Geordie. I don't hate him morally in any way. I do think he's weird because that is weird stuff that came out about him. But I just know that there would be some kind of incentive to fighting a guy like True Geordie. Like there'd be a reason to fight a guy like True Geordie, money wise and audience wise and viewership wise. Other than that, HS Toki, but he probably knocked me out. I don't know. HS Toki looked lethal in his boxing debut, dude. I don't know. If I went in there, I'd definitely do better than his opponent did. But no, he looked kind of dangerous to be honest with you. So maybe not.
You could have a oh, what about you versus Wade?
We spoke about that, but let me tell you, actually, maybe there is beef with me and Wade. I just slammed my desk because I said that because every time I like pop into his chat, he says, MMA Guru, we're gonna have to do a collab soon or something like that. But he never messages me for a collab. Not once, not ever. This has been going on for years where I'll pop into his chat and he'll shout me out and he'll make a niche reference in his videos that he watches my stuff. And then he just won't ever message me or collaborate or extend the olive branch behind the scenes. So maybe there is some beef. Maybe I'm gonna have to beat the collaboration out of Wade concept. You never know.
Well, it was before I went onto your live stream and typed onto the on the stream saying, "Do you want to do an interview?" It was I did an interview with Wade on the Zoom for about an hour before that, and we spoke. I don't know,
Okay.
don't think you saw it, but we did speak about you, and Wade was like, "Yeah, yeah, I like the MMA Guru. You should reach out to him. He might do an interview of you." Like I'm trying to do this American accent.
Yeah.
Then I found out about you. I think it was last July. I'd always see you on TikTok, and funnily enough, I was in
Oh, good.
Montenegro just on a holiday with my friends out there, and he kept coming up on my TikTok feed. I think it was all about the Jon Jones about the Jon Jones stuff. And I was like my friend Boris, who's a big fan of you. Shout out to Boris. He was like, "Oh, that's the MMA Guru." So even in the middle of Europe, they know about you. And then I kept seeing
Nice.
more stuff in the channel. Then more beef happened, and it comes up more and more and more. So it's sort of the arguments and the controversial stuff does bring you up. It does make the views more well known. So it's interesting. But yeah, you got Wade, you got HS, you got Geordie. Those are two. Well, those are three big names for you.
Yeah. I know
And
there's also a guy. What's his name? He kind of ruined heavyweight Misfits Boxing, did he not? What's the guy's name?
we'll describe him.
I,
I'll be able to tell you.
Beard, no tash, fat guy.
Who's he fought?
Ah, he fought. I actually know his name. I'm not trying to pretend like I don't know his name. I've heard of his name.
Tempo
Um,
Arts?
yes, that's the guy, Tempo Arts.
Right.
He kind of ruined Misfits Boxing, did he not, in the heavier divisions? Because he was kind of like, there's all these names that they were kind of putting him against that they were maybe hoping would go on, and get a big, heavier fight, and then Tempo Arts just sort of slobs his way through
He's saying because Temple
competition.
always beats the guys he gets given, so it's the same champion.
No, not just because it's the same champion. It's just I feel like they didn't want him to be the face of the Misfits heavyweight division, if you know what I'm saying. If he is he even a heavyweight? He doesn't
He's the
seem
heavy.
like
I
a
wouldn't say he's
heavyweight.
the face of the. Okay, technically, I guess if he's the champion, yeah, he is the face of the division. Well, he fought. Oh, don't really, I might have bleeped that actually. On the, you're not live, are you right now?
No,
You
I'm
never
joking.
know.
I'm
You
not
never know. I
live.
interviewed
No,
Wade one time, and Wade was live, and yeah, I'd be very careful
no,
what I
no,
said in
I'm
that
not.
interview.
I'm not. You just
Um,
leaked a fight then, did you? Accidentally. So
have you ever
you're
spoke?
in the know behind the scenes basically of Misfits Boxing. You get told things that
It's
you're not
very
supposed
difficult
to say.
interviewing people when you already know the answers already. And so when they get it
Yeah,
wrong,
yeah,
I always correct them and I go, "No, it's this person," and I have to cut that out. So yeah, it
yeah.
can be
No,
kind of
I
tricky.
was just saying that Tempo Arts is basically like the Bilal Muhammad of the UFC, the Misfits heavyweight division. But like, I don't know. I don't really. Is he actually an influencer, Tempo Arts?
He's a TikToker.
Oh, that makes sense. Sometimes with TikTokers, you find out they're famous and then you
Mm.
don't even know before that, you know?
Yeah,
If
some
you're not
TikTokers are
on
super
TikTok, I
famous on
guess.
TikTok, but because their
Mm,
videos are so short, like it's like a 10-second video of them talking, they don't get that
yeah,
public presence. Like they don't get recognized out on the street or whatever because the videos
yeah,
are so short and they're so clippable, you know? Whereas a
yeah,
YouTuber is getting less views because people are watching their face for so long, they're a lot more recognizable.
yeah. I mean, I would do a, if you want to talk about Misfits boxing and if I would do Misfits boxing, I would do it, but I'd want to be, I don't know if you know Fred, but I'm taking it all the way to the bank here on YouTube, pal. You know what I
Mm.
mean? I'm doing some big boy checks. So
Well,
I don't know.
you got
I
your
feel
first
like
brand. I believe you got your first brand deal recently, no?
how much you been watching? I don't even know that yet. I'm not
Oh,
even done with negotiations. Let's not seal the deal here, Fred. So
okay,
I mean,
continue,
I
continue.
want to get some. I want to get something. You know what I mean? Because I don't know. YouTube it may just demonetize me, and then I'd like to have a little something beforehand set up
Well, have you
for
ever
a
spoken to
brand deal.
Mams?
Mems,
Mams, he runs Misfits.
Mams Taylor.
Yes.
I've never spoken to Mams Taylor, but I don't know. Some point I'll probably speak to him. I think he's a bit
What?
of a weirdo, is he not? Mams Taylor. I know
No, he's my
you're
good
friends
friend.
with him.
Mams is my good friend. He's not a weirdo. He's
Yeah.
great.
He wears like a cowboy outfit at like a UFC event. Like,
No, because he's a cowboy. He lives in Nashville in America. He's a cowboy.
okay.
He's got horses and everything. He goes horse riding, everything like that.
What
Yeah,
a
he's
very
a cowboy.
cool 50-year-old man thing to do. He's a cowboy, guys. He wears a cowboy outfit. Gee whiz. No.
Whoa, whoa, whoa! Stop the man's Taylor
I know,
slander.
I
This
know.
is
He does his thing. I know. He's really cool and edgy and cowboyish.
no,
What an
you're stopping
awesome
your
guy.
opportunity to be on Misfits, blimey. Right,
No,
right,
no, this is how
right.
you get the opportunity because this will more likely provoke him to message me or try and reach out. I should
Well, I
actually
can send
check.
you.
He probably has, but I haven't even. He might have actually messaged me over the years. I'll check it at some point.
Well, I can always text you his number if you're down to talk about fighting maybe. But anyway, moving on then. KSI McGregor has been rumored. We know McGregor is kind of all over the place right now. You went to that. You don't think that's a possibility?
No, he's under contract in the UFC. They're not going to let him fight KSI. If they wouldn't let him fight Manny
After two fights though.
after two fights that he's had in MMA, he'll then fight KSI, you're saying?
I'm saying like, he's got two fights left on his UFC contract,
Mm,
correct?
mm.
Yeah.
But then he has a year waiting clause after the end of the contract to where he has to sort of not fight for a year and they still have to offer him fights. There's like a weird little limbo stage that you enter once your fights are done on your contract. Francis Ngannou went through this as well, where you have to kind of wait out this time window where you're not allowed to negotiate with anyone else. And you have to basically be put on ice for like a year of your career after two fights. So if KSI is still boxing by then, I don't know, maybe the Lunchley, because of all that moldy cheese, I don't know, maybe the Lunchley thing doesn't go to plan. And then maybe he's looking for a McGregor fight. But I don't know. I heard that he was going to fight Amir Khan.
Yeah, I think the negotiations kind of fell through on that one,
Why?
unfortunately. Apparently, well, allegedly, you gotta say allegedly for everything nowadays. MA Khan declined
Makes
on the
sense.
contractual stuff, which is kind of odd. But I guess if Amir doesn't need the money and he's pretty
If he
happy
doesn't need the money, and there's also a bit like, if you lose to KSI, you're kind of, Amir Khan has kids, doesn't he?
yes, he does.
And I'm not saying like he's chinny and he's way smaller than KSI. And KSI does like he's not boxing you, so he kind of takes the years of training out of it, because he'd like London shoot fighters, MVP style, karate blitz fighting styles, trying to win. Like he has a very smart way of approaching it, because if he just did a typical boxing stance with typical boxing technique, he would just get fucked up by these guys, probably, right? But when he does the dancing and the star jumps, it makes it goofy. It's like McGregor against Mayweather. That was the X factor. Like, oh, he does things differently, you know?
So you're
But
saying KSI's got a shot against Amir Khan? You think KSI could beat him?
Amir Khan's very chinny, Fred Beck. Like, his chin is spent at this point in his career. He's kind of done. He's old. I know he's on probably on the sniff. And he's got kids. And the thing is, like, when you're a boxing dad and you've got all these juniors running around, which I'm sure Amir Khan has, he's probably like the hero in their eyes. Like, oh, the big tough boxing dad. And his kids are probably all aware of KSI as a YouTuber. So if he loses to KSI, like, that's it. Then he has to sort of live around his kids who are well aware of who KSI is in the house. Like, that's a lot of risk if he were to lose. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, no, I can understand that. I guess that's part of the risk you take when you take a fight
Yeah.
like that. But KSI wise, who do you reckon he'll be fighting next year? He's fighting hopefully Q1 or Q2 of next year.
You mean the first or second quarter, Q1? They aren't
Yeah.
names of YouTubers. Okay.
Oh yeah, yeah. Sorry. Yeah, they're not
I
names
don't
of
know.
YouTubers.
Fighting Q1 or Q2, I was like, oh, this new dynamic duo on the block of TikTok. I wasn't aware. But oh, who do I think KSI will fight? Here I am talking about
Yeah,
Misfits.
you're thinking, how on earth did I get here?
I
I
know
was
it's
putting
fine.
100k views or
I
200k
know.
views 2 days ago, and now
No,
somehow I'm on Fred's fighting channel talking about KSI. How on earth did I get here?
no, I got to get a Fred Beck interview in at some point. This has been long overdue. But the KSI, who should KSI fight? Obviously Jake Paul's the fight, but that's never gonna happen. Um, I could see KSI getting a fight with. I don't care, Fred. I don't. I don't care. There's no. If it's not Jake Paul, I really don't care who KSI fights. I can't even think of a name that would make sense for him to fight, right? Because he's not going to
Yeah.
want to fight someone where immediately people go, ah, a step back. This guy has not taken any step forwards. Because Jake Paul's, even though I think KSI has a bigger name than Jake Paul has way more weight in amongst boxing fans because he did it aside from influencers a lot earlier. So he's kind of built himself up to get bigger names. Like Jake Paul's getting Mike Tyson. What's KSI going to get? Alex Wasabi, the rebooked, the grudge match against
Wow,
Alex
you really
Wasabi.
do know you act like you don't talk about Misfits though, but you do know the names.
I know Alex Wasabi. I know names. Yeah. Like I'm a UK guy. I'm not old,
Hmm.
Fred. I'm 26. I know I look 50, but I'm 26. So I know KSI. I watched KSI on the come up, the old KSI that was actually funny and didn't just hysterically laugh at everything he says. But yeah, I used to watch KSI coming up. I know who Alex Wasabi is. I know Deji Olatunji. I know Joe Weller. I used to watch Joe Weller a lot. I don't know what you used to watch when you were younger. Who were the YouTubers when you were younger, when you were watching YouTube?
I'm 20, so about the same really. KSI, Joella. I loved Raka Raka, to be fair. I always watched loads of boxing content, loads of boxing interviews, IFL TV, a little bit of Ariel. Not too much Ariel Helwani stuff, more recent. I'd watch Ariel stuff.
Oh
Lots of
wow.
boxing channels, that sort of thing, yeah. I always loved the 24/7s, the boxing 24/7s back in the day with Mayweather.
Yeah, the
I
promo
like
pieces they would do.
hmm. Or even Showtime, they did their new kind of epilogue versions where they
Yep,
would like do the
epilogue.
steps and before the fight. I always thought that stuff was really cool. I love
Where
watching
the
those.
guy with the really epic movie voice talks over Caleb Plant shadow boxing in the rain or some shit like that, right? That's
Yeah,
what
yeah.
the
I
type
think
of
it's
thing they do.
Mario Ronello. I think that's the guy, the Mamma Mia guy.
Mamma Mia,
Yeah,
Mauro
that guy.
Ronaldo, legend from the old days. I remember him getting pranked by like Pride fighters back in the day. Like, he would get pranked by I think they pranked him with Mirko Krokop hating him at one point way back when. I don't know if you've seen that video, but Mauro Ronaldo's a legend of the game. He's on a lot of commentary now, right? They pay
Mm.
respect to Mauro a lot.
Yeah, he did the Showtime and then WWE NXT, I think, as well. Yeah.
There you go. Legend
But
getting respect.
moving on to the MMA sort of stuff. What I find interesting about your channel is when you were in the Nina drama beef, you were saying that I I guess you use the term, I don't involve fighters in my content. So for the come up for you, you
Yeah.
just did videos talking to the camera, and you still do the same. Occasionally, you might mix an interview in there, but and
That's
I guess now it's
recently.
easier. But all the fighters, they will say they won't know you, but they will know you. As I said earlier, combat sports
Hmm.
is a very tight knit community. Do you
Yeah.
look to do more interviews with different guys? I know you did the Dricus interview where you're both standing up, and everyone saw how tall you were for the first time. Do you
Dude,
plan to do more interviews
I had
next
invisible
year?
lat syndrome the entire time because I was so insecure. You know, I kind of bigged up how big I was gonna be, and I was like, dude, if Drickers is taller than me, I'm you know, that'd be so embarrassing if I walked in the gym and Drickus just is outsizing me massively. So I was kind of like invisible lat syndrome in the whole interview when I was with him. And then the audio was terrible. But yeah, the fighter interview stuff. I mean, I didn't want to use it to get going in fighting. You do it with names, right? You bring your interviews are very heavily a major part of your content, right? That's your
Well,
thing.
it's different. So I guess a similar person to me is kind of Wade, but he just does commentary videos and occasionally he'll interview someone. But yeah, I always come up just doing I was probably too nervous just to talk straight to the camera and do kind of the dance, as one might say, as you talk to the camera and you say what you think, the thoughts, predictions. I started doing interviews when I was quite young and kind of slowly built it up. But
Yeah.
I think I would always just do interviews. Maybe I'd branch off and do some interviews in another sector. But yeah, interviews is kind of my the niche, I would say. But for you, you look to do more interviews or just quite happy as you're going? I only say this because I saw the conversation. It's more of a conversation you had or a chat you had with Darren Till. I thought it was quite funny, just quite chilled out. Well, you
It's a
weren't really
good one.
asking much, just kind of banter.
Yeah, we just, I don't know. I feel like I don't ask questions and then get an answer a lot. Maybe with like Moicano, who doesn't really, he's not fluent in English and, other things I do have questions to structure things out. But the Darren Till interview was just a weird come down off type chat in the early hours of the morning type interview. It was a really weird, surreal thing. And then when I did Twitter spaces with Darren Till's cool. I've made fun of Darren Till, but the UK fighters get a lot of my interviews with UK fighters or even Drickus South African, I think a similar culture. They're okay
They
with,
understand your dry humor.
yeah, like I can trash them a bit and then they'll be like, ah, it's fine, dude. You trash me a bit. I get how it is. Whereas the American fighters, if I trash them, are like, dude, you're way out of line to bring that up. And even going there is disgusting behavior. And then all of a sudden I'm a reprehensible person. But yeah, I don't know. I didn't want to start doing the fighter interviews early on my channel because I wanted people to be there for me, so I didn't have to
Hmm.
rely on the fighters
You
coming
want
on.
it's quite interesting this sort of thing. I guess my view is always up and down. They're like this. It's like a wave of whoever you have
Mm.
on and having them on at the right time, where you created
Yeah,
yourself as a product basically, so you can just be there yourself, which is a
like
smart
a
way.
yeah, like a lot of young MMA YouTubers, they'll try and get on like a prelim UFC fighter or someone on the come up, hoping that one day if I get these early interviews and then this guy becomes a star, I'll get all these views once he becomes a star. That's how they kind of get their foot in. I wanted to make sure that I wasn't dependent on them because then if I'm dependent on fighters, then if you piss them off or you annoy them, like you have to kind of pander to them in a way. I never wanted to pander to fighters, so I kind of started on all of them and doing videos
You
like
took
that
the
all the
complete
time.
opposite approach then, turn it around.
Yeah, yeah, because there was a audience in the MMA community that just hated the fighters. Not in a way like hated all fighters, but they were waiting for someone to kind of trash talk the fighters because every other MMA media personality had to be on their good side. So I kind of came along at like a accidentally perfect time to where I could just be the voice of not caring what the fighters think because I built my own thing. So that
Hmm.
gave me like a freedom to talk however way I wanted about them. But in terms of doing more interviews to cover all the questions you asked, or the two questions, I know that was another part of it, asking if I want to do more interviews. I will, but I don't plot it out. I don't have like, oh, it's this week. I've got to do an interview for someone. Like it naturally happens. Drickus Duplessis saw a video I made about him and liked it. I was defending him about Adesanya stuff and Ariel Helwani thing because Ariel put words in his mouth. And he just reached out and messaged me. And then that naturally came along to, oh, I'll do an interview with Drickus. And then at the end, I'll sneak in that I'm going to be in South Africa and then we'll meet up. And even Pimlet, I just messaged him. He popped into my live chat on his YouTube account when he was smoking weed once and then just started typing in the live chat and he was playing Football Manager or something like that. So that happened. And then I was like, oh, he knows about me. I'll message him randomly and see if he answers. And he
When's
did.
it? When's Israel Adesanya gonna message you and say, "Come on my YouTube channel"? When will
I,
that
I think
happen?
I think the first I think the first contact I'll get from Israel Adesanya maybe a lawsuit at some point down the line. So I don't know if we'll be off on the right terms
Who's more
for an
likely to
interview.
message you for a collab? Ian Garry or Adesanya?
Adesanya probably just to get my IP address and fucking leak it online or some shit. I could see that type of vengeance move, which is why I use a VPN for these interviews. If
Mm.
any fighters get any funny ideas, but yeah, probably Adesanya just to try and fucking bait out my IP address or like send malware to my computer with a fake link or something. I could see that.
Yeah, maybe. You never
Uh,
know. You never know.
yeah.
Would you think Jon Jones will retire if he beats Stipe in December or November? When is it? Next month?
Yeah, it's at the middle or end of November. Wow, it is like only a few weeks away. Yeah, to Superior Holloway's this week, and then it's probably 2, 3 weeks after that. So, I think he'll retire. I think he knows he's getting old. Um, I don't think he's fighting Tom. He made it very clear that he's not fighting Tom. I've been very vocal about the fact that he's not fighting Tom. Dana White still says he is because I think he's just hoping and praying that it will continue afterwards, or trying to justify this big MSG send off for Jones. But I almost think it's worse that they're not advertising it as Jones's last fight, even though it is. We all know it's Jones's last fight. You know, he's
Mm.
probably not going to fight afterwards. Every time it feels like we have the three horsemen of the heavyweights, and it's just Aspinall and Garnu and Jones, and everyone's got their side of it. You know what I mean? And then Garn, some people think Ngannou's the best. Some people say Aspinall's the best, and he's going to be the best. He's younger than all of them, and he hasn't achieved as much as them, but he'll get there, is the argument. And then Jones is there. And I feel like every time Ngannou mentions Jones, Jones speaks of like as if Ngannou's this 20-year-old kid that hasn't accomplished anything. And Ngannou's like, I want to fight. And then Jones is like, you'll get there someday, kid. You keep pushing. I see you. You know, he's almost little broing Ngannou and Aspinall a bit. Even with Aspinall, Aspinall's like, I'm right here with an interim belt. Let's fight. And then Jones is like, someday down the line, you keep hustling, kid. You know, keep up the hard work and you'll get here one day. And it's just, dude, he's right there. He's already here, you know? But I think Jones will retire, and I think they should advertise it as Jones's retirement fight because they probably make more money doing that. Because then people will realize, oh, this is the last chance I've got to watch Jones in MSG. I'll spend more on a ticket than I would normally, or I'll actually travel for this one. I want to see Jones fight at least once in my lifetime. So
Mm.
they
Yeah,
should advertise it as that and be
for
honest.
marketing sakes, yeah. Do you think is Jones set for life off UFC?
Yeah, Jones has been set for life. MMA fighters make more than people assume that they do. I know they don't make enough. They don't, but then they wouldn't be fighting once, twice a year if they didn't make enough. If we heard a lot of arguments about fighter pay, and I used to buy into this a lot as well, and I guess they could make more. They don't make as more as the top level boxers for maybe bringing in somewhat more hype. You know what I mean? But I just feel like MMA fighters, if they weren't getting paid enough, we'd see them in the cage 4 or 5 times a year at least. But we
Like
rarely
Michael
ever
Chandler's
see
been
that.
out for what 2.5 years, and he seems to be doing okay.
Clearly he's doing all right, you know?
Mm.
No one's sitting out for that long and not and like scraping by. I don't think Michael Chandler's, weighing out his cereal in the morning to make sure he doesn't overstep his rations for that week. Like I'm sure he's set. And then what the big thing is you hear about fighter pay and then you see an embedded episode. And it's just like, oh, here's that guy's mansion. He's fucking ranked number 12 in the world. How's he got a mansion and his supercar in the front and his wife and kids all happy? You know? Like,
Mm.
clearly they make money
They're all wearing their Louis
beyond
Vuitton
what we're
backpacks
told.
and duffel bags and whatever,
Yeah,
and designer clothes.
exactly. You aren't buying that type of stuff if you ain't set. But, well, maybe you are. That's the trend these days. I don't buy no designer things. What about you, Fred? Red jumper all the time?
Yeah, pretty much. This is from Fruit and Loom.
Oh, okay. The underwear brand. But for
No,
shirts now,
that's
I
not the
guess.
underwear brand. It's a
Oh, is
classic.
it
No, I think
all
it's a
things?
classic like just plain clothes brand, but it's very very cheap.
Ah, okay.
But
Okay.
would you ever release? We got about 4 minutes left, so we'll just touch on a couple more things. Would you
No
ever
Zoom
release
Premium, eh?
merchandise, clothes?
What a move. I don't have Zoom Premium either. It's fine. Um, Merchandise. No. I mean, I would. I don't want to do it. It's effort, man.
So you want to have MMA Guru t-shirts?
I should do. I should have done by now because it would be cool to have like a UFC event and then like, cool, there's a guy in the background
Hmm.
on camera with a UFC with a MMA Guru beanie or an MMA Guru shirt or something like that. But I'll do it someday. I just don't care to. Maybe I should.
Everything's a lot of
Fans
work.
ask me for it, but the way I see it, your fans have money and they will way the way my live streams are, they'll spend their money that way. If I give them merch, they just won't donate that money that they would have given me. Like it's not a game to get as much money off your fans as possible. It's just a game to be like giving yourself availability to if your fans are going to give away their money that they will. You know what I mean? If they are going to give you their money, they will. I don't want to be like, now give me your money this way and that way. And make sure you give me your money this way as well. I'm going to run you dry as a fan base. I want all of it. I'm a fucking parasite, you know? So maybe I'll do merch, maybe not.
Who knows?
2025. I'll probably
Yeah.
have someone handle that for me if I do it. I'm not getting involved in all that on my own.
No, you can delegate that for sure. But no, I'll let you go, man. I do appreciate you guys hopping on the channel at such early hours for you. Anything else you want to add? Anything cool coming up for yourself the rest of the year before we leave
Yeah,
off?
thank you. Thank you for inviting us guys on the channel. As you just said there, fat joke. Little bit of fat joke before the end. He's
No,
literally
no, that's a
referencing
mistake. That's
me.
a mistake. It's not a
He's
bad joke, I
refer
promise. That's a
referencing me as plural humans is what he's considered me there before the end of the interview. Actually, insane disrespect, and I'll never be back on ever again. And I'm done. I'm done, Fred. I don't know.
Oh man, no,
About
it's
ends
a
this
mistake, it's a
meeting.
mistake. But anything
It's
else
all
coming up
good.
for you though? Next end of the year though, anything cool? Or just the same as usual and a few good live watch alongs?
We got 2 minutes left, right? I see it. All right, I'll be like I'll do Fight Companions every weekend. I do content all the time. This is probably an audience that isn't mine that's watching this as well, right? I'll just keep going. I'm going to travel around a bit more often in 2025. I'll probably go to America in 2025. That's a
Would you
big
need
move.
security if you went to America, especially around
Yeah,
MMA gyms? Yeah.
yeah, yeah, I would. In an MMA gym, it's kind of bullshit to bring security in with you, though. I don't know if that's how it works. I think I just have to take my ass whooping someday. And it will happen, and I'll go to America and get beat the fuck up. And hopefully, it will be publicized enough to where other fighters don't feel the need to also beat me the fuck up. It's happened. I've paid for my sins. I've been beaten in the streets by Sean Strickland. Let it move on. I don't need also like fucking Adrian Yanez piecing me up at a fucking Walmart or some shit if I get caught lacking out there. So yeah, hopefully I'll be all right. I'll go to America in 2025. Um, Other than that, I'll probably have a sponsor soon. I never took any sponsors early in the YouTube game because I didn't want to do it for like Magic Spoon or anything like that. I don't know if you're not sponsored by them or Manscaped, but I need to get a sponsor, dude. I need to start making this bank. All these other YouTubers are making great money. Million deal this, million deal that. I'm trying to set my family up, change their whole situation. We never had money. It's about time I got a lot of it at once. That's my fault.
No credit to you. Yeah, I can't. Sponsors are very hard to come by nowadays. I don't have a sponsor either. I think back in the
Yeah.
day, like good 4 or 5 years ago, it was a lot easier. But now
Mm,
it is definitely a lot more difficult. But no, I do appreciate you taking
yeah.
your time out of your day. I know you're very busy. You post a lot of content. And
Yeah.
we'll do another one of these in hopefully a year's time, or if I ever see you at a Misfits event. But yeah, thanks very
Yeah.
much, man. I do
All right.
appreciate it.
Sure. No problem, Fred.